And Fritzi, I just wanted to move the conversation slightly on, and a big theme of what you talk about and what we've touched upon, a big theme throughout your projects with the Compassion Prison Project centres around safety. And obviously our audience be a legal professional, and therefore the lawyer is usually this foundational sort of figure that a traumatized individual first encounters, or first probably point of contact when they face the justice system. And I suppose what my question is to you is what we can do as a profession, as individuals, as lawyers who are wanting to be better, to help bring this compassionate approach that you advocate.
Yeah, and especially for the prosecutors. So, and I know there's the polarity of prosecuting versus defense is big because, but when advocating, and I think that's the word, when doing this case, when thinking about the case of the person who's committed the crime and done the harm, that question must happen for the victim and for the person creating the crime. Is what happened to you, because victims create victims, right?
Yeah.
They were victims way before they ever started committing crimes. So we must ask that. And we must ask, is putting person in prison, like they're doing with the youth. I know they're doing this a lot with the youth. Most of the youth in Scotland is being diverted, not into the prison, to Polmont. I think there's only like 200 people in Polmont, 200 children in Polmont. And I say children because people are children until they're up to 30, 33 years old. And I think I said this at the talk. I knew dating guys, they weren't ready for anything until they're about 33. But until then, these are children. First of all, we consider the age, but also we have to consider mitigating circumstances 100%. And what's their developmental level? I don't know if there's a way to figure that out, but you know, if they're developmentally 7 or 8 years old, they're behaving like a 7 or 8 year old. So you're going to put them in an adult prison and then expect them to behave like mature adults. So as a justice system, I mean, I think diversion from prisons must be the goal. And if it is prison-like, then put the low-level people in a low-level prison where they can walk around. Don't create more harm than is necessary. They do need to learn how to structure their lives. They need classes, and they need to waken up their curiosity again. And so I would, mix those prisons up so that they can walk around. I know there was a low level near me where I was living when I was in Glasgow. We didn't get to visit it, but I think they were allowed to walk around. Definitely recommend having everyone go up to McGilligan and see what they're doing there. I know it's a medium level, but that's possible. You have like little streets in Barlinnie. People can walk through the streets and go to this class, and then they're going here, and make sure everybody, instead of locking them in, lock them out, keep them busy.
So what differences did you see from McGilligan to something like that we have here, Edinburgh, Barlinnie?
Well, I'll start with the similarities. First of all, nobody liked being there, and everybody had the same complaints and was resentful the same way. And I told them, I said, do you know what you have here? Do you have any idea what you have here? I would, take advantage of this, possibility, and this very, very progressive warden who's all about connections and getting people out of their cells, which is the Norway model. But what I saw was they had their own laundry rooms. They were doing their laundry. They had chicken coops. They were raising chickens. They were gardening. They were building. They had a wood shop where they were doing woodwork. There was beautiful, beautiful landscape where they had that beautiful field we went out to in Barlinnie, and nobody was using it. That pitch should be used all the time. And instead of having people man the cells, have them man the pitch. We're not in the Middle Ages anymore. And our brains, we know so much more about what our brains can do and how our brains can heal now. Make them curious, have them read, have them write book reports, give them credits, reward them for their for their curiosity. Be parents. It's basically, prisons is a reparenting institution. That's what it should be. And right now it's basically an extension of their tortured childhood. Even in Scotland, that's what I saw. And the good intentions are not enough anymore. And saying you're trauma informed means you're not re-traumatizing, and putting people in their cells for 24 hours or whatever the amount of time, more than what they're sleeping in, more than the 8 hours that they need to sleep, is basically injuring their brain. Bottom line is, it's not changing their brains, which is what prison should be doing, changing the architecture of their brains from antisocial to pro-social. This is, if Scotland can prove that they're pro-social, trauma-informed institutions, this can reverberate to the rest of the world. There's only 8,000 people in prison in Scotland. That's 2.5 prisons in the US, in California.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to do that here in one prison, like just show them this is a trauma-informed prison, full stop.
Yeah.
But Scotland can do that, with a few moves of a pen.
And a final question that I wanted to ask you, and it's really, where do you see the world in the next 5 to 10 years' time? The world that you're advocating for. What's the dream for you? What's the hope for you?
All prisons become wellness centers. All prisons become wellness centers. And that means from the moment they're arrested, the moment the person is arrested, they are taken into custody in a compassionate way. First questions are, what happened to you? What can I do to make you feel more comfortable? Do you need anything? Do you need to talk to your family? What's going on? And it's compassionate people along the way, really creating a plan for that person, that individual. What are the steps you need? What are the brain steps that we need to take? Do they need to be in a hyperbaric chamber? Because they have so much traumatic brain injury. Do they need medication, or can we take them off medication so they can start feeling like themselves? Do they need loving kindness meditation? What are the things that they need? Building a program and having advocates for their success, bringing in volunteers so that they can help. Maybe they can help. Maybe we're understaffed, yes, but every day I get 3 or 4 people who want to volunteer and help change the system. So there are people out there that want to get busy. People need you to come in and talk to them and socialize with them. Talk with the people in prison, because that's what they didn't get as children. They're basically children that want to be seen. Hey, mommy, daddy, look what I'm doing. Look what I'm doing. So that we understand it's basically like a daycare center for adults. And they move through the system until we know that they're better. And we don't go by their sentences. We go by their improvement. If they're ready to go home, send them home. Do it in steps, have them go out for a week, a month, a year, whatever you feel safe with, but get them back out there, because that's what their brains want and brains need, and they need better food. Jesus Christ. My last thing is, are you taking enough care of yourself? And how is that? And if not, what is the impact in the world that you're having? Because we're all having an impact in the world. And if we're not taking ourselves, that's impacting the world. So the more we take care of ourselves, the better we are.
Great. And what a lovely note to end it on as well, Fritzi. So thank you so much for coming to talk to me today. It's been such a pleasure to talk to you, and such a pleasure to meet you as well.
And thank you so much, Rachel. Thank you for your advocacy and your and bringing this information to the people in the criminal justice world in Scotland.